Part 68. Weird Star Witch. Author, White Silver Black Iron. Chapter 672. Duan was not surprised when he heard that Furnace refused to go to the Luberon region. He knew that Furnace was not easy to talk to, so he thought that Furnace was making conditions, so he said, "You can make a condition, and we will do our best to satisfy you. It's not a matter of conditions. Everyone has preferences. Now I like the feeling of being a torturer. I really like to clean up low-level 7 or 6 werewolves. These remote cities will benefit from my actions. Everyone wants to have a tailwind, right? On the main battlefield, you and the werewolves are evenly matched, and the people in these ordinary cities need me more. I will spend another 10 days clearing out the high-level werewolves nearby. After the defense pressure here is lessened and the garrisoned constitutional army has the ability to mobilize troops and effectively counterattack, I will head to the Eagle's Beak Peninsula as soon as possible. I will pick up my female wolf girl Yvonne, and then look for opportunities to make her a level 8 werewolf. So I'm very sorry, but I won't be going to the Luberon region for the time being." Dwayne breathed a sigh of relief. "Mr. Furnace, the Luberon region has the most level 8 werewolves. By then our goals will be the same again." "You're right. Our goals will be the same again," Rudolph said. "Actually, I can't see anyone tonight. I'm very tired and just want to have a good rest. I came out with you because I want to ask you one thing." "Please tell me, I will tell you everything." Rudolph's words made Duan's pupils suddenly shrink. Sure enough, the Furnace would definitely put forward conditions. "Do you have level 9 alchemy bullets?" Seeing Dwayne's expression of disbelief, Rudolph explained. "As you can see, I have mastered some new abilities. Although I am a level 7 wizard, when several of my abilities are combined, the effect is equivalent to level 8 alchemy bullets. I have no shortage of level 8 attacks. If you can get them when I reach level 9 alchemy bullet, I can play a greater role." Duan remembered the time when the Furnace killed the level 8 werewolf. Duan was not surprised by the sneaking ability that was even weirder than the level 8 mutant black wolf. The legendary Lacerda wizard should be stronger than the level 8 mutant black wolf, but the Furnace can easily kill a level 8 werewolf, which is very scary. The insane immortality ability, the frightening absolute hit, the unpreventable concealment ability, and now the super level attack ability. After careful calculation, Duan felt that the Furnace was no longer the strongest apostle at level 7, but even the apostles at level 8 were afraid of it. "People." Duan was silent for a while and then said, "Some weaklings in the parliament think that it is better to surrender to Carloman 16, dissolve the parliament, and let the alchemist become the technical advisor of Carloman 16. In this way, we do not have to bear the losses, and the noble knights will appear on the border to fight together." Wolftide. The capitulationists believe that as long as the parliament is dissolved, the king may not actually execute all high-level alchemists. I will not hide from you that the reason why we rejected Carloman 16's peace talks is because Prime Minister House's promotion experiment has made breakthrough progress, and he is expected to become a level 9 alchemist in the near future. Rudolph became serious. "A level 9 alchemist?" "Yes, the pinnacle among alchemists. The Prime Minister's experimental data is perfect. The Council is collecting ore for Prime Minister House. When he makes a level 9 alchemy weapon, the conspiracy of the werewolf and the knight can be defeated in one fell swoop. I'm looking forward to it, very much looking forward to it. If Prime Minister House needs a gunner, I will be the most suitable person. Whether it is Corvinus or Carloman 16, I can guarantee that this bullet will hit them between the eyebrows." Duan, who knew more, smiled. He finally took the initiative in front of the Furnace. Level 9 alchemy weapons were enough to make a top assassin like the Furnace excited. However, that is not a weapon that a gunman can use. Duan noticed that Fufu had not spoken for more than 10 seconds. He turned around and looked at Fufu and found that Fufu's face was full of exhaustion. He was silently surprised in his heart. It turned out that the furnace was really tired. Rushing continuously in a very short period of time, following the edge of the wolf tide to save city after city, Rudolf could not stop, because if he slowed down, a city would be destroyed by the wolf tide. The more cities he saves, the more strength the constitutional army retains. When the losses of the wolf tide become greater and greater, the strength of the garrisoning constitutional army becomes stronger and stronger. When the strength of both sides reverses, for example, now, the security areas, the constitutional army has the ability to mobilize its forces and gather more strength before the wolf wave, and the constitutional army itself can protect the city. The strength of the constitutional army in the city is obviously stronger because the constitutional army from other cities arrived here, and because the early operations of the melting pot preserved the strength of the constitutional army in other cities. Seeing Furnace's tired eyes, Duan even felt a little guilty. These things should not have been done by a Carolingian wizard, but the field legion of the constitutional army was dragged down by several level 8 werewolf tribes in the Luberon region and was unable to support the Pain region in the north. They were just leaning against the wall, without even a seat. The melting pot did not allow Dwayne to clear out an empty bar or drive away people who were celebrating wildly in the bar. He seemed to enjoy hearing others shout with joy. The head of the judgment department, a wizard who had just killed a level 8 werewolf, was just leaning on the street, watching people coming and going. Until the end, neither Rudolf nor Dwayne had a seat in the tavern. Rudolf, who was in desperate need of some rest and sleep, returned to the hotel arranged for him by the Judiciary Department. Although they couldn't sit down and have a few drinks, both of them got the results they wanted. Duan knew that the furnace would fight against the level 8 werewolf, but he needed to bring his woman, the level 7 werewolf, to help her become a level 8 werewolf. This was better, proving that the furnace had the idea of actively fighting against the level 8 werewolf. Rudolf also knew why the Alchemy Council was so tough and why it directly refused to surrender to Carloman 16. If the alchemist had no trump card, it would simply drag Silba into the abyss. The level 8 alchemist house had found the research direction and was about to develop a level 9 alchemy weapon, which would definitely change the situation of the war. Once the level 9 alchemy weapon came out, the level 9 werewolf Corvinus would also tremble. The destructive power of the alchemist's weapon was still very strong. The invention that could be promoted to the level 9 alchemist must be an extremely powerful invention. More importantly, this weapon can also be mass-produced. Silba could at least make 3 or 5 level 9 alchemy bullets with the power of the whole country. The last level 9 alchemist invention that changed the world was the steam engine. The emergence of the steam engine has brought about a qualitative improvement in the strength of the alchemists. That was still a non-combat 9th level invention, invented by Prime Minister House, but it was an invention for war. Thinking about it, Rudolf was a little excited. It would be great if he could use a 9th level alchemical bullet once. He could kill a 9th level apostle with one shot and make them feel fear. After returning to the hotel, Rudolf lay on the sofa under the window, turned off all the lights, and let the moonlight illuminate the area under the window. The shadow of the window frame fell on the ground, and Rudolf began to think about his future path. If he wanted to face the most powerful 8th level apostles or even 9th level apostles, he had to become stronger as soon as possible. Fortunately, the werewolf who squeezed the weak persimmon squeezed out the 8th level relic, and he got the first 8th level archpolar constellation secret formula. The 8th level black wolf hair lit up the Virgo Gamma star on the star map, and the progress of Virgo came to 3/11. When he was cleaning up the level 7 and level 6 werewolves, he lit up the first 2 dark stars of Virgo, but the rewards he got were all level 7 and level 6 witchcraft artifacts, which were of little use to Rudolf now. 3 suspended stars fell from the Virgo Gamma star, representing Rudolf's 3 rewards. Level 8 Shadow, Level 8 Wolf King Hair, Level 8 Arched Ursa Major Secret. Level 8 Shadow is a witchcraft that allows wizards to master the night stealth ability similar to the level 8 mutant Black Wolf. This is useless to Rudolph. Compared with the night stealth of the werewolf, it is absolutely more hidden and more suitable for Rudolph. Level 8 Wolf King Hair is a witchcraft production method that allows Rudolph to make his hair into a substitute like wolf hair. He can use this witchcraft to attack the enemy with hair, and the main body shuttles through the hair and resurrects in any hair. Rudolph has many undead abilities, and this ability is a bit useless. The third option is so dazzling that Rudolph chose it without hesitation, the 8th level Circumpolar Constellation Secret Formula. Curved Ursa Major Secret Formula. Astrological Map Ursa Major Hexagram. Main Relic minus 8th level Relic Zombie Relic or 8th level Plague Relic or 8th level Vampire Relic. Secondary Relic minus 8th level Priest Relic or 8th level Giant Relic, 8th level Werewolf Relic or 8th level Druid Relic. Ritual Location Ursa Major Direct Area, Callisto Glacier. There are 42 level 5 Southern Constellations, 10 level 6 Mid-Sky Constellations, 19 level 7 Northern Constellations, and only 5 level 8 Circumpolar Constellations. The number of constellations has a certain pattern, with more level 5 and less level 6, more level 7 and less level 8. The number of constellations is not always very large or very small, but increases and decreases alternately. The promotion of level 8 wizards reduces the difficulty in relic selection. Because there are only 5 level 8 circumpolar constellations, as long as 3 level 8 relics are collected, it is almost certain that a certain constellation will be matched. If there are dozens of level 8 circumpolar constellations, the wizard will go crazy. Level 8 apostles are noble. Among the level 8 apostles in the whole continent, there are more werewolves, and the number of others is very small. Rudolph calculated the level 8 apostles and found that each one is difficult to deal with. There are only 4 level 8 knights, Carloman 16, Lothair 11 and the 2 dukes of the Meguen Empire. Without a level 9 alchemical weapon, Rudolph will definitely not be able to deal with a level 8 knight. There is only one level 8 giant, Goliath, the king of giants. Goliath is an important general of the Meguen Empire and controls the royal giant corps of the Meguen Empire. There is only one level 8 word spirit, Hermes, the royal astrologer of the Meguen Empire. The level 9 knight emperor Meguen 9 will never allow anyone to take advantage of his royal astrologer. There are slightly more level 8 alchemists, about 7. The presidents of the upper houses of the alchemy councils and the commander-in-chief of the Constitution Army are all level 8 alchemists. Level 8 druids are unknown. It is said that there is an 8th level druid in the depths of the Iridi forest. The higher the level of the druid, the more he likes to live in seclusion, deep in the natural environment. There are quite a few level 8 priests. Each evil god cult will have 2-3 cardinal priests, and those cardinal priests are all level 8 apostles. Among them, the Pope and cardinal priests of the Fraud Church will not survive for more than 3 years, and they are always vacant. The total number of level 8 cardinal priests does not exceed 15. It is very troublesome to deal with the cardinal priests. 1 Pope and 2 cardinal priests are the absolute core of the evil god cult. They are priests who can contact the evil god at any time. Dealing with them is equivalent to dealing with the evil god. There are 3 level 8 vampires. The 3 direct descendants of Dracula, the ancestor of the vampire clan, are level 8 vampires. However, both Dracula and his direct descendants have 2 long lifespans, and each of them has a lifespan of thousands of years. They are not truly immortal. In order to survive, these high-level vampires have been in a deep sleep and will not wake up unless they have to. As for the level 8 apostles such as plague carriers, zombies, and silver snakes, they have never been heard of, and it is possible that they have not appeared for decades. For example, the level 8 plague carrier, the last time a level 8 plague carrier appeared was more than 300 years ago. The Black Death he created reduced the population of the northern continent by a quarter. That terrible plague storm was also one of the reasons for the collapse of the Knight's rule. Fortunately, there are so many ores in this secret formula, otherwise Rudolph would not know how to collect 3 level 8 relics. Also because there are many ores in the level 8 secret formula, the same Ursa Major Wizard will also have subtle differences in ability due to different relics. He has already obtained the not so valuable level 8 Werewolf relic, but he doesn't know where to get other level 8 Apostle relics. These level 8 apostles are either powerful themselves or have more powerful people behind them. It's too difficult to get them. Compared with the 5 level 8 arched constellations, there are quite a few level 7 North Sky constellations, many of which are very powerful. 19 North Sky constellations, Lacerta, Andromeda, Camelopardalis, Auriga, Canis Predicans, Vulpecula, Cygnus, Leo Minor, Perseus, Boötes, Hercules, Coma Berenices, Corona Borealis, Lynx, Lyra, Delphinus, Pegasus, Triangulum, Sagitta. Lacerta, the first hidden under immortality, Leo Minor, which is said to be half of the level 9 zodiac Leo wizard, Hercules, known as the strongest North Sky wizard, etc., are all very distinctive. Rudolph thought about it, and he decided to plan the level 8 apostle relics while accommodating the unique level 7 constellations. Judging from his current strength, the power of the forbidden technique brought by the star map is already very strong. The combination of the Sagittarius forbidden technique, Sagittarius finger fire and the Taurus forbidden technique, Powder World gives him the ability to kill across levels. The death of the level 8 Black Wolf proves that this ability to kill across levels is very effective. What the level 8 Werewolf can't resist, other apostles can hardly resist. Unconsciously, Rudolph slowly fell asleep in his wild thoughts. The moonlight shone on his face, smoothing his eyebrows that were wrinkled due to fatigue. 2 in 1. Let me explain to everyone that I am a part-time novel writer. I don't have much time to write novels every day, and I try to ensure 4,000 words. Sometimes the chapters are natural, but that's really not intentional. I sit down at 8 o'clock after get off work and other things, and it's more than 11 o'clock in the evening when I finish writing 4,000 words. If this book can last until the winter vacation, I will add more chapters during the winter vacation. Weird Star Witch. Author, White Silver Black Iron. Chapter 673. The next morning, Minister Duan knocked on the door of the furnace room, but after knocking for 2 minutes, no one answered. After waiting for a few minutes, the room attendant opened the door and let the people from the judgment department in. In the empty room, the window was open, and the curtains were blown up by the morning breeze, swaying one by one. The word Spirit Witch Hunter said, "There is no one in the room, the furnace is gone. Please pay attention to your address, you must say Mr. Furnace. The Wizard Witch Hunter has something to say. If the furnace suddenly appears in front of you in the next second, you will be miserable. Do you think you can predict the actions of the furnace? I don't think even the 7th level word spirit Mr. Eric can predict Mr. Furnace. Of course not, but the furnace is really gone, and there is no temperature on the bed. The word Spirit Witch Hunter suddenly found, there is a 7th level werewolf relic on the bedside table. The Wizard Witch Hunter only saw a 7th level wolf hair at this time. He was a little moved. He didn't expect Mr. Furnace to think of him and leave a 7th level relic for him. At this moment, the figure of the furnace became even taller in the heart of the Wizard Witch Hunter. Such a precious level 7 relic is placed on the bedside table like this. This is Mr. Furnace's deep care for his juniors. Wizards help wizards. Mr. Furnace is really a good man. You are 11 years older than Mr. Furnace. How can you be Mr. Furnace's junior? If you didn't say it, I wouldn't notice it. Mr. Furnace is only 23 years old this year. I doubt the accuracy of this information. Duan stood by the window, looking at the scenery in the distance and said, Mr. Furnace went to Eagle's Beak Peninsula. He will pick up his woman in Eagle's Beak Peninsula, and then find an 8th level werewolf to help his woman advance. Oh my God, he can actually help his woman become an 8th level apostle. I think I look good. I wonder if Furnace likes men? Can he like me? The druid witch hunter really envied Furnace's women. It was so easy for Furnace's women to advance. Let's go back to the front line in the Luberon Mountains. This time we have a good harvest. We have confirmed that the Furnace is still so angry about werewolves. Rudolph flew quickly in the sky, and the Starlight South ship wrapped him. With his absolute ability to hide, the Starlight South ship could not be detected. This transparent ship sailed on the Sea of Clouds, but the Sea of Clouds was calm and was not hit by the Starlight South ship at all. Flying over the mountains in the Luberon region, you can see a big river called the Garonne River. This river runs through the Garonne region and flows into the sea from the northwest of the Eagle's Beak Peninsula. The Garonne River has become a natural barrier. The counties and provinces west of the Garonne River have been destroyed by the wolf tide. The river is very wide. The Constitutional Navy went upstream and patrolled along the Garonne River to prevent large groups of werewolf tribes from crossing the river. At least the cities east of the Garonne River are safe now. Fortunately, there is this river, which blesses the West Elba people on the east bank. When seeing the large ships, Rudolph suddenly thought of a question. If a large number of Constitutional Army naval ships enter the inland river, what about the maritime defense? What if the evil god cult takes the opportunity to attack the northern continent and the Eagle's Beak Peninsula? The United States of West Elba is like a house with leaks everywhere. If the cold wind blows in from the east wall, they will be frozen to death. The west bank of the Garonne River is extremely desolate, and even animals cannot be seen. In just over a month, the wolf tide has completely changed the landform here. The windmill was knocked down by the werewolves, no one worked in the fields, and the city was full of traces of fire. Werewolves like charred corpses, and cooked food is more delicious and good for their stomachs. After flying for a long time, Rudolph flew over the city of Belfort. There were many ships docked in the port of Belfort in the distance. The hard-hit West Elba people's demand for shipping dropped sharply. The factories of the entire United States were either producing military supplies or adjusting production lines and transforming into arsenals. Those ships were so crowded that if the evil god Navy attacked, those ships would not even have a chance to escape. Rudolph landed directly on the volcano, and only when he lifted the absolute concealment did the people on the ship see him. Cooper saw Rudolph standing at the bow and felt dizzy. Mackenzie, is that Rudolph? Or a mirage? Have I been thinking about him so much recently? Why do I have hallucinations? Mackenzie saw the shadow under Captain Rudolph's feet. Captain Green Skeleton, that's the Furnace ship. Cooper floated towards Rudolph. Rudolph? Is it really you? When did you come back? I just came back when you saw me. I was looking straight ahead just now, and you suddenly appeared, just like a dizzy eye. Don't be surprised, just a little bit of the ability of a level 7 wizard. What? You have been promoted to a level 7 North Sky Wizard. Yes, level 7 Zombie Cooper, please call me the Honorable level 7 North Sky Wizard in the future. Oh, shit, you mean I didn't lead for long, and you caught up? Mackenzie sighed in his heart, worthy of being the captain of the Furnace. He was promoted to a level 7 wizard in a short period of time. When did Captain Furnace become a level 6 wizard? It seemed to be half a year ago. Rudolph asked, have my two students looked for the volcano? I told them that they can look for the volcano first when they come to the Eagle's Beak Peninsula. Mackenzie replied, Captain, your two students, Mr. Aramon and Miss Blanca, left Belfort half a month ago. They drove away the Pisces one. I heard from them that they were going to Saragosse for promotion. Okay, I got it. Captain, we haven't had business for a long time. It's good that you're back. We've been waiting for you for a long time. Mackenzie really missed Captain Furnace. Only when Captain Furnace was there, Volcano Shipping Company would be a truly fearless smuggling company. Rudolph said, Don't worry about this matter. It's too chaotic recently. I will take Ivan away immediately and find a suitable level 8 werewolf to help Ivan get promoted. Cooper was stunned. What? Ivan is about to be promoted to a level 8 werewolf? Can you beat a level 8 werewolf? Rudolph smiled and said, if I can't beat them head on, can't I sneak attack? It's no exaggeration to say that if I sneak attack them now, they won't even have a chance to react. Rudolph walked towards the cabin and entered Ivan's room. Rudolph, you're back. Ivan, I'll show you something good. What good thing? Ivan looked up at Rudolph's eyes, her hands not stopping. Ivan, you've become bad. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Weird Star Witch. Author, White Silver Black Iron. Chapter 674. The Tribunal of Belfour is located in the basement of the Council Hall. Witch hunters gather here to better protect the Parliament and members. Duke, the director of the tribunal, is checking the documents issued by the trial department in his office. This is a document that the trial department sent to him separately, asking him to implement it. This document is a handwritten letter from Duan, the minister of the trial department. The letter says that the value of the united front of the furnace has increased, and we must pay attention to all the needs of the furnace, and use all the strength of the Eagle's Beak province to meet the requirements of the furnace. If the Eagle's Beak province cannot do it, it must be reported, and the trial department will send someone to solve it. The last time the trial department issued a document, didn't it say that the furnace killed 2 senators on the street in the capital city of Leger? How come the furnace went to Carolingia and became the father of the trial department after returning? The tone of Minister Duan is as if the furnace can see the secret letter. Is this flattery in both words and deeds too much? There was no one else in the office, and Director Duke complained while reading. At this moment, a hand suddenly reached into Director Duke's field of vision. He pointed to a word on the secret letter. This is a typo. Minister Duan is too disrespectful to me. He actually wrote a typo. Duke's heart was almost broken. He turned his head in panic and saw the furnace. His next action was to look at the door of this closed underground office. The iron door was fine. How did the furnace get in? When did he get in? The furnace took the secret letter from Director Duke's hand, walked to the sofa, and sat on the sofa to read the letter. Director Duke felt that he was going to die until he heard the question from the furnace. What is your relationship with Minister Duan? Why are your names so similar? Did you enter the judicial system through the back door? No, Mr. Furnace, I have no relationship with Minister Duan. No, I mean, it's just a relationship between superiors and subordinates, there is no other special relationship. Director Duke trembled and turned his back to the furnace to make coffee. His mind was turning rapidly. He didn't know how to make up for the complaints about the furnace just now. Why could Ronglu silently break through all the defense systems of the Court of Justice, enter his office directly, stand behind him, and read the same document with him? If Ronglu wanted to kill him, wouldn't it be a matter of one finger? After making coffee, Director Duke adjusted his mood, pretended that nothing happened, and then walked towards Ronglu. He decided to pretend that he had never said it. If he was thicker-skinned, maybe Ronglu would not care about it. Rudolph took a sip of the coffee Duke handed over and asked, the Wolf Tide was temporarily blocked by the Garonne River. Do you have any information channels in the Court of Inquisition? What is the situation of the evil god cult in the southern continent? No new situation. They have been preparing for war and transporting war materials to the front line. We are unable to take care of the situation in the southern continent. Rudolph frowned, then the problem is even bigger. The evil god cult is also preparing for war. They have been preparing for war since the beginning of the civil war in Elba. It has been 3 or 4 years. How can there be no new situation? Duke thought about the intelligence about the southern continent and said, "We are cleaning up the spies of the evil god cult, and the evil god cult is also cleaning up our spies. Especially after the big pirates were cleared out, we have fewer intelligence channels. As for the matter of the evil god cult in the southern continent, we have been in the dark since the end of spring this year and know nothing. The spies sent to the southern continent disappeared one by one. They were probably cleared out by the evil god cult and failed to return on the believers' ships. The believers came to the Eagle's Beak Peninsula in boats. Due to the extreme lack of labor, the factory had to hire believers without the power of apostles. I have always been worried that we are transparent and have no secrets in front of the evil god cult in the southern continent. Don't the people in the Judgment Department guard against the southern continent? What are they doing? Mr. Furness, the Judgment Department is now busy dealing with the royal family and werewolves, and it really can't spare enough manpower. Deal with the southern continent." Rudolph shook his head. "I always feel that werewolves are a short-term concern, and the evil god cult is a long-term concern. Moreover, once the problem of the evil god cult breaks out, it may be more serious than the wolf tide. But what can we do? We can only deal with the wolf tide, which is about to destroy Zirba. As for the evil god cult, we can think of a way when we encounter it." Rudolph said. "You can't do this. You can't just take care of the head and ignore the butt. If Belfour is attacked by the evil god cult, with your little strength, you can't even beat the weakest abstinence church in the evil god cult. The evil god cult can capture the Eagle's Beak Peninsula with great ease. Part of the Constitutional Army Navy is in the Oyster Bay port in the east, and the other part is on the inland Garonne River. The Eagle's Beak, the power of the peninsula is too weak. Didn't Minister Dewan say that he would try his best to meet my requirements? You and your provincial speaker write a proposal and send it to the Senate of the capital as soon as possible, so that the Senate can send a stronger force. The power of the Eagle's Beak Peninsula is not enough to fill the teeth of the evil god cult." Director Duke smiled bitterly. "We have written it, and we write at least 2 every month. But 11 Urba has only this little power. The main force is on the western front to deal with the wolf tide, and some of the power must be left on the eastern front to defend against the noble knights. How can there be enough defense forces on the Eagle's Beak Peninsula? Rudolph thinks that the noble knights are still dealing with the Alchemy Council. This behavior is to give 11 Urba to the werewolves and evil gods, which is short-sighted and stupid. Is it to send such a vast 11 Urba into the tiger's mouth for the sake of Carloman XVI's 9th-level Knight Emperor or immortality? Mr. Furness, I understand your thinking. In the view of a powerful wizard like you, the Eagle Beak Peninsula is full of loopholes and vulnerable to attack. However, we really have no choice. In the past, the Constitutional Army and the Navy could still take care of us. After the Navy sent its main force into the Garonne River, the Eagle's Beak Peninsula became a fragile waste in the middle of the Gourd, and West Elba really had no other strength. Rudolph knew that 11 Elba had one last hope, which was a level 9 alchemical weapon. He wondered whether that kind of alchemical weapon could be developed in time. Forget it, you can apply for as much power as possible. I'm leaving first. I need to go to the Luberon Mountains on the front line. I hope that the evil god cult will move slower, and that the peace here can be maintained for a longer time. Good luck, Mr. Furness, and I hope you kill more werewolves on the front lines." Duke couldn't see how the furnace disappeared, it just disappeared suddenly, and the pit where he sat on the sofa slowly rebounded. He quickly picked up the secret letter, and after looking at the second half, he suddenly realized that the furnace had been promoted to a level 7 wizard, but the secret letter did not say which northern constellation the furnace contained. This letter was written very early. After Dwayne first guessed that the forge was hunting werewolves in the Pain region, he immediately wrote to ask the Eagle Beak Peninsula to take the forge seriously and cherish their important ally. After putting down the letter, Duke sighed. He also knew that a storm was brewing on the calm sea, and the evil god cult would not give up, but what could he do? I'm taking 2 days off. I'm a bit busy at work this week. Weird Star Witch. Author, White Silver Black Iron. Chapter 675. The Luberon Mountains, the largest mountainous area in the western part of West Elba, have the largest iron ore and coal mining areas in West Elba, as well as the largest arsenal in the country. If the Luberon Mountains are lost, West Elba will lose a quarter of its industrial capacity, which will have a huge impact on the entire West Elba. The werewolves also know this, so they regard the various industrial areas in the Luberon region as their main attack targets. As long as the Luberon region is captured, West Elba will collapse quickly. At the intersection of the Luberon Mountains and the wilderness, the main force of the Constitutional Army organized a line of defense, and half of the Constitutional Army's army and aerospace forces gathered here. On the endless mountains, on both sides of the main roads, every mountaintop that can be seen in the field of vision has a stronghold set up. The Constitutional Army and the werewolves fought back and forth for every high ground, leaving countless corpses on the hillside. A railway track passes from the rear and leads to the city of Luberon. This is the industrial artery of West Elba and cannot be lost. Luberon is the capital of the region and the current headquarters of the Constitutional Army. Rudolf and Ivan got off the train and entered the city that had completely turned into a large barracks. A large part of the residents were evacuated to the inland cities, and half of the houses in the entire city were requisitioned by the Constitutional Army as barracks for soldiers who withdrew from the front line. Of course, the Constitutional Army subsidized the house owners, 70 silver shields per household. This money was pitifully small, and the soldiers destroyed the house after they came in. These soldiers who withdrew from the front line did not cherish the furniture at all, and only knew to smash things after drinking. The military headquarters of the Constitutional Army did not seriously rectify this, because the casualties on the front line were too great. When the soldiers rotated to rest, many of them suffered from varying degrees of mental trauma. It was common to smash things and could not be controlled. In addition to the blocks requisitioned as barracks, there are many merchants in the city. These habits of the alchemists are incredible. In a war of this level, many military supplies are supplied by private companies. These large arms companies have parliamentarians and alchemists behind them, and the prices they offer are not cheap. The Constitutional Army and the arms companies have formed a tacit understanding. Weapons research and development, weapons manufacturing, transportation, delivery, and even acceptance are all handled by different arms companies. These arms companies have cross-holdings and their shares are very dispersed. If you don't know the inside story, just looking at the list of shareholders they publish, you don't know who these arms companies belong to. Because there are many arms companies, the hotels in Luberon city are booming. Rudolf and Ivan came to the military reception hotel of the Constitutional Army, and someone took them to check in. Standing outside the window, Rudolf looked at the city of Luberon. This city used to have at least 300,000 people, but now it has become a large military camp with broken bottles everywhere. Rudolf, didn't you say that there are several level 8 werewolves on the front line? The Constitutional Army can stabilize the front line, which is quite impressive. Well, it is indeed very impressive. The commander-in-chief of the Constitutional Army is the level 8 alchemist Stein. His research and development results are the level 8 giant air blast bombs. It is said that the destructive radius of a giant air blast bomb can reach 1.6 kilometers. 1.6 kilometers, this distance is so exaggerated that it even exceeds the maximum distance of the level 8 vampires in one flash. The level 8 vampires can only flash at a distance of 4 times the speed of sound, which is more than 1,300 meters. In front of Commander Stein's giant air blast bomb, the level 8 vampires will be killed instantly, not to mention the level 8 werewolves. The level 8 werewolves can control the wolf hair clones 1 kilometer away from themselves at most. No matter how many clones they have, they will be engulfed by this air blast bomb known as the mother of bombs. With such a large attack range, all the wolf hair clones of the level 8 werewolves will be destroyed instantly, revealing the seriously injured body. At this time, as long as one more level 8 alchemical bullet, which is famous for its single-point killing ability, can kill a level 8 werewolf. If it weren't for the terrifyingly high manufacturing cost of these level 8 alchemical weapons, the Constitutional Army would have won long ago. The intelligence given to me by the Judgment Department shows that after Stein killed 2 level 8 werewolves, the wolf tide in the Luberon Mountains became much more obedient. At lunch at noon, 4 people sat at a table. Rudolph, Ivan, Duin, the Minister of the Judgment Department, and Stein, the Commander-in-Chief of the Constitutional Army. Mr. Furness, when we met in the capital city of Lager last time, I thought we had paid enough attention to you. Unexpectedly, your performance far exceeded our expectations. Your cleanup of the level 7 werewolves in the northern Pain region helped us survive the most dangerous first wave of the wolf tide, gave my soldiers the opportunity to adapt to the wolf tide, and finally organized a defense line, so that the Pain region did not collapse. Commander-in-Chief Stein was very polite, which surprised Rudolph and made him feel flattered. Commander-in-Chief Stein, I hate the wolf tide, and we have a lot in common on this matter. Stein looked at Ivan. Is this beautiful lady about to be promoted to a level 8 werewolf? Yes, there are several level 8 werewolves here, and it is just right for my lover to be promoted here. Ivan was very happy. Rudolph called her his lover, and she couldn't help but look at Rudolph with loving eyes. Stein smiled. He was really an enviable young man. Mr. Furness, do you need us to provide level 8 alchemical bullets? No, just give me the location of the level 8 werewolf, I have a way to deal with it. You don't need level 8 giant air blast bombs either. After thinking for a while, Rudolph shook his head and said, level 8 alchemical weapons are expensive. You should keep them for other battlefields. I have my own way. Minister Duan glanced at the commander, but the commander did not respond. The furnace here revealed an important information. The furnace has the ability to kill level 8 werewolves independently. Commander Stein said, then let Minister Duan tell you the intelligence of several level 8 werewolves and work with you to develop a combat plan. Thank you very much, Commander-in-Chief. I should say that I am grateful. With your presence, we are much more relaxed. After lunch, Stein left the hotel. He still had a lot of things to do. Minister Duan followed Rudolph upstairs and brought Rudolph a map in the study of the hotel suite. The map shows the locations of the 5 level 8 werewolf tribes on the front line. Mr. Furness, after we killed 2 level 8 werewolves, these level 8 werewolves learned their lesson and no longer stayed in the werewolf tribe with people following them. Instead, they broke up the tribe and became level 7 werewolf tribes. If we don't fight, we don't know which level 7 werewolf tribe's leader is a level 8 werewolf. Can't we judge by wolf howling? Werewolves control tribes through wolf howling, which spreads very far and is very efficient. It's difficult. There are no werewolf witch hunters among our witch hunters. There are level 8 werewolves everywhere here. The call of the head wolf will cause the werewolf witch hunters to rebel, so we have no ability to distinguish which of the wolf howls with the same sound is from the level 8 werewolf and which is from the level 7 werewolf. Duan looked at Ivan and said, it's better in Luberon City. Once you leave Luberon City, Miss Ivan must be careful. She may also be affected by the call of the level 8 werewolf king. Well, yes, this is the most troublesome thing. Weird Star Witch. Author, White Silver Black Iron. Chapter 676. On the 912 high ground, a Constitutional Army infantry regiment is stationed here. There is a mountain road at the bottom of the hill, but no one has appeared on this mountain road for a month. Werewolves will not take this mountain road. Werewolves do not need roads. Hillsides and even cliffs cannot stop them. This is the 3rd Infantry Regiment on the 912 high ground. The first 2 infantry regiments have been eliminated by werewolves. This high ground has changed hands several times and now it is back in the hands of the Constitutional Army. The leader Luke turned his head and looked at the sky. The airship in the sky is the source of his courage. The poor terrain of the Luberon Mountains makes it very difficult to transport artillery, and large artillery cannot be pushed up at all. Only airships can carry powerful artillery, and only airships can provide fire support for various high grounds in complex mountains. Fortunately for the leader, the werewolves and the Blood Clan are enemies in the wilderness. If the Blood Clan also attacks Zirba, the advantage of the airship will be greatly reduced. Cheer up! In another hour, the airship will deliver food and water to us. By then, the werewolves may launch an attack and interrupt our supply. Only after repelling the next wave of wolves can we have a hot meal. The infantry regiment's supplies were delivered by airship. Without fortifications, they dared not fight the werewolves in the mountains. That would be courting death. It would be great if there were cavalry. Luke's infantry regiment was transferred from the Eastern Front. The Unicorn Knights seen on the Eastern Front had extremely strong mobility. That cavalry regiment would definitely be able to defeat the werewolf tribe in mobile warfare. It's a pity that they are enemies. The noble knights always want to turn everyone into their personal slaves, which makes the citizens who are used to freedom very annoyed. Luke walked towards the artillery position of the Highland stronghold, which was equipped with a level 7 alchemical artillery that could fire level 7 alchemical shells. This main gun was the key to their ability to hold on. Once a level 7 werewolf tribe appears, this cannon can fire precious level 7 alchemical shells into the center of the werewolf tribe, delaying the attack of the level 7 werewolf tribe. The sound of the level 7 alchemical cannon is very special. A sound-generating device is designed on the barrel. The hot air waves created by the gunpowder will enter a whistle, making a very sharp sound, proving that they have encountered a level 7 werewolf in their position. The airship cruising in the rear will come over immediately, and then use the level 7 alchemical rocket on the airship to kill the level 7 werewolf. Even a level 7 werewolf tribe with 50,000 werewolves cannot withstand the saturation attack of alchemical weapons. Luke was a little panicked when he saw that there were only the last 3 shells left in this level 7 main gun. I don't know if the rear can bear the consumption of this kind of ammunition. The daily output of a medium-sized iron mine can only extract the refined iron needed for a level 7 alchemical shell. I heard from the logistics department that more than 70% of the factories in the rear have become arsenals, and all arsenals are working in 3 shifts day and night to manufacture weapons and shells. After Luke checked the main gun, he came to the place where the werewolves were imprisoned. The infantry regiment has been keeping a few werewolves, and these were skinny and bony. This is Luke's special way to motivate morale. Luke repeatedly explained to the soldiers not to be afraid of the large number of werewolves. Although the wolf tide is fierce, they also have a fatal problem, that is, supply. Werewolves need to eat a lot of meat every day. Meat is not like wheat, oats, and other grains. Wheat and oats can be grown on a large scale. Alchemists have developed various fertilizers, phosphate fertilizers, nitrogen fertilizers, potash fertilizers, etc., which can increase production. Werewolves' food is meat, and they don't have so much supply at all. The stupid werewolves have occupied the wilderness for thousands of years. There is only simple animal husbandry, which is an industry that only high-level werewolf tribes have. Most werewolves will only attack wild animals like wild beasts. A level 7 werewolf tribe has 50,000 werewolves. These werewolves need a huge amount of meat every day. Luke deliberately detained skinny werewolves to prove to the soldiers that the werewolves in the wolf tide can't eat enough. If the wolf tide can't advance as fast as the locust plague, plunder quickly, and kill and prey quickly, a large number of werewolves will fall into hunger and their combat effectiveness will be greatly reduced. In the early stage, Commander Stein organized several blocking battles and killed 2 level 8 werewolves in succession. The speed of the wolf tide can no longer be picked up. Alchemists can become the masters of most of the continent. Although the knights have been restored recently, the United States of alchemists are the richest, most abundant in resources, and the most powerful countries on the continent. Luke often jokes with the soldiers that the wolf tide sounds fierce, but in front of the main force of the Constitution Army, it has to stop. They can't move at all. Where can they move? The frequency of werewolves attacks decreased because the werewolf tribe had to send a large number of werewolves to hunt for food for the large army. The livestock brought by the werewolf livestock farms were not enough for them to eat. Captain Luke told his soldiers the operating principles behind these wars, asking them not to despair and not to be scared by tens of thousands of werewolves. As long as they persisted, they could drag down the werewolves. Tens of millions of werewolves would be dragged down sooner or later. Of course, what Luke did not say was that his infantry regiment had continuously defended 3 waves of werewolf attacks, so he dared to beautify the war situation with his soldiers. In fact, many highlands had long been taken away by werewolves, and the front line of the Constitutional Army had been retreating. There were millions of werewolves in the Luberon Mountains. No matter how efficient the weapons of the Constitutional Army were, they could not gain an advantage in the face of so many werewolves. When the battle line is completely torn apart and these millions of werewolves are scattered in the mountains of the Luberon Mountains, the Constitutional Army will also collapse, and the scattered werewolf tribes of all sizes will instantly defeat all the order in the Luberon region. Even if they lose 2 level 8 werewolves, even if hundreds of thousands of werewolves die in the artillery fire of the Constitutional Army, the werewolves are not very anxious. Their werewolves are not worth much. As long as the Luberon region is captured, the number of werewolves will quickly return to its peak. Luke inspected the wounded tent with a kind smile and told them that the airship would send them to the rear when it came. After coming out of the tent, Luke ended his morning inspection and walked towards his command tent. As soon as he entered the command tent, his expression immediately became cold. He persuaded the soldiers with a set of words, and he had another judgment on the trend of the war deep in his heart. Without the help of the Carolingian Constitutional Army or any other forces, the Luberon region could not be defended. He closed his eyes in pain, then stood up with all his strength and came to the map on the side, which showed the distribution of troops in the Wolf Tide and the surrounding highlands. What Luke didn't know was that there was another person standing next to him, who was also looking up at the map. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Weird Star Witch. Author, White Silver Black Iron. Chapter 677. After nightfall, all the soldiers on the 912 high ground were alert. Werewolves are nocturnal creatures, and night is the werewolf's home ground. The werewolf's main attack usually takes place at night. The werewolf's attack during the day is mainly to interrupt the supply of the high ground and harass the soldiers to prevent them from sleeping during the day. The night is the climax of their activities. The wolf howls of all sizes and near and far in the surrounding mountains are terrifying. These werewolves will howl when they are happy and howl when they are unhappy, which makes the soldiers feel irritated. The special howls of those high-level werewolves are the most frightening. Once a high-level wolf howl appears, it proves that the high-level werewolf has issued an attack order for the werewolf tribe. Countless werewolves will rush up from all directions, and the barrels of automatic rifles will be damaged due to overheating. In the sky, there are small reconnaissance boats. These reconnaissance boats are only 5 or 6 meters long. They are responsible for reconnaissance of nearby high-level werewolf tribes and issuing early warnings. A starlight lizard was crawling above the reconnaissance boat. This was Rudolph's level 7 starlight creation, the starlight chameleon of the Lacerta constellation. This starlight lizard was in an absolutely hidden state. No one could see it. Inside the lizard was a coma-infected Ivan. The lizard with its mouth closed blocked the sound and prevented Ivan from reacting after hearing the wolf howl. The starlight lizard gave Ivan the ability to hide absolutely. When Rudolph found the right opportunity, Ivan would be able to drop from the sky and get a chance to be promoted. In the mountains, 3 level 7 werewolf tribes were moving forward. After some of the werewolves went to hunt for food, only 20,000 to 30,000 werewolves were left in each of these level 7 werewolf tribes, which was still an exaggerated number. In one of the werewolf tribes, the head wolf stood on the top of the hill, and behind him were several level 6 werewolves. The level 6 werewolves trembled, and they did not look like they had seen a level 7 werewolf at all. Level 7 werewolves have the ability to suppress level 6 werewolves through blood. Unless level 7 werewolves are old and weak, they will not give level 6 werewolves a chance. Although level 6 werewolves obey level 7 wolf kings, they also have expectations in their hearts. Maybe when level 7 wolf kings become weak, it is time for them to be promoted. Facing the wolf king in front of them, level 6 werewolves have no idea at all, because the wolf king in front of them is not a level 7 werewolf at all, but a level 8 werewolf from the ancestral mountain. In order to avoid being targeted by the level 8 alchemical weapons of the Constitution Army, level 8 werewolves hide in the level 7 werewolf tribe, so that the Constitution Army's reconnaissance airships are difficult to identify. The level 8 weapons on the flagship airship of the Constitution Army are too terrifying. A giant air blast bomb will destroy half of the werewolf tribe. Level 7 werewolves can use wolf hair to create a hemispherical barrier. The wolf hair in the barrier may be the body of the werewolf. This wolf hair barrier with a diameter of more than 10 meters is no match for the alchemist's weapons. The wolf hair of the level 8 werewolf can be spit out like breath, and the wolf hair breath is amazing, and any wolf hair spit out may become the main body of the level 8 werewolf. However, no matter how far the wolf hair breath goes, it is impossible to exceed the explosion range of the giant air blast bomb. Other level 8 werewolves died in this way. There are a total of 11 level 8 werewolves on the ancestral mountain. 1 died in the Pain area in the north of Elba, and 2 died here. Before entering the hinterland of West Elba, 3 level 8 werewolves died. I don't know when the distant ancestor Corvinus will come to the front line. As a level 9 werewolf, Corvinus' goal is to destroy the authority. Unless he sees the authority of destruction, he will not leave the ancestral mountain. Rudolph flew over this werewolf tribe. This is the 3rd level 7 werewolf tribe he has scouted tonight. In the past week, Rudolph has been cruising on the battlefield, looking for level 8 werewolves. It's really surprising that the level 8 werewolves have begun to learn to disguise. The word spirit of the Constitutional Army is a level 7 word spirit, which has no ability to divine the traces of level 8 werewolves. Even the divination of level 7 werewolves is very difficult because there are too many level 7 werewolves. When Rudolph landed on the top of the mountain, he immediately realized the peculiarity of this werewolf tribe. The level 6 werewolves crawled respectfully behind the wolf king. Rudolph felt that they crawled a little far away and their butts were a little high, which was obviously different from other level 7 werewolf tribes. The wolf king maintained his human form, so no one knew what level of werewolf he was without using the power of the apostle. Rudolph stood in front of the werewolf and carefully observed the werewolf's situation. He only had one chance to make a move. If this werewolf was a level 8 werewolf, then he must have nailed some wolf hair in some inconspicuous places. Those wolf hairs might not be in the ground at all. Once his body was threatened, he would be reborn in flesh and blood on those wolf hairs that were unknown. Moreover, once the level 8 werewolf uses the wolf hair breath, the wolf hair will be sprayed everywhere, and it will be even more difficult to know which wolf hair is his main body. Rudolph must determine his main body, and then kill him with one blow, sneak attack him with the world of powder, so that his main body will be horribly injured, creating an opportunity for Ivan. I don't know if this level 8 werewolf can feel the cold wind. From his performance, it seems that he can't feel it. he didn't realize that there was a person standing next to him for the next 3 days, watching his every move. When the level 8 werewolf privately met with the level 7 werewolf, Rudolph was beside him. When the level 8 werewolf ate, Rudolph was beside him. When the level 8 werewolf watched the wolf girl dancing, Rudolph was beside him. When the level 8 werewolf observed the Constitution Army Highland, Rudolph was beside him. The main feature is a companion, a silent companion. Until one day, another level 8 werewolf found the level 8 werewolf targeted by Rudolph. Another level 8 werewolf said, since 3 level 8 werewolves died recently, the distant ancestor Corvinus created 5 level 8 werewolves again. Xuanhuan means that you should move to take charge of more difficult positions, and hand over your positions to the new level 8 werewolves so that they can adapt to the battlefield as soon as possible. Damn it! I have already scouted the location of the enemy's level 8 alchemical weapons. Give me another month, and I will definitely break through the defense line here. Shut up and follow Xuanhuan's orders. Werewolves are so worthless. Except for Corvinus, other werewolves are consumables. Rudolph finally waited for the opportunity, and the level 8 werewolf he targeted began to move his position. After 2/3 of his men moved away, the level 8 werewolf took back all his wolf hair scattered in this mountainous area. The werewolf has a strong sense of territory, and his wolf hair left here is a provocation to the new level 8 werewolf. Just when all the wolf hair returned to his body and turned into wolf hair, the pupils of the level 8 werewolf were suddenly illuminated by a light. Weird Star Witch. Author, White Silver Black Iron. Chapter 678. Level 8 werewolves have many powerful abilities, but before they are used, all abilities are equal to nothing, equal to 0. The level 8 werewolf was shot through the eyebrows, and at this moment, the enemy seized his only weakness. His wolf hair was just taken back at this moment, and there was not a single strand left outside. The battlefield is also a territory. In order to give the territory to the new werewolf, the level 8 werewolf had to put away all the wolf hair. The werewolf didn't understand until his death why the enemy seized this only opportunity. This place is far away from the front line, more than 10 kilometers away. Could it be that the level 8 words made a divination? But the Constitutional Army does not have a level 8 words. The level 8 werewolf could not do anything to resist because his brain was shattered by the despicable sneak attacker. A blazing beam of light entered from his left temple and shot out from the right temple. Not only that, some strange crushing ability shattered his entire forehead. This is some strange ability that can completely crush a small half of the werewolf's brain into a thin pulp, instantly destroying the werewolf's brain. Without a brain, no matter what the werewolf wants to do, it cannot give orders to the body. A starlight lizard appeared beside the werewolf. The starlight lizard lifted the absolute concealment state. A transparent outline with different refractive index can be vaguely seen, and Ivan jumped out of the lizard's mouth. At the moment of jumping out, Ivan turned into a white wolf and pounced on the throat of the level 8 werewolf. The level 8 werewolf had no wolf hair substitute outside, no brain inside to issue orders, and did not even know that the white wolf had bitten his throat. The huge werewolf power gushed out of the throat of the level 8 werewolf and entered Ivan's mouth. The body of the white wolf became more and more powerful. Her white hair was like floating in the water, swaying slowly backwards. One by one, the white wolf hair floated backwards with the swinging hair tips and separated from the white wolf. More and more floating wolf hair appeared around the white wolf. These wolf hairs were all incarnations of Ivan. Unlike the level 7 werewolf, the wolf hair can only form a hemispherical barrier. One of the core abilities of the level 8 werewolf is that the wolf hair can be far away from the body and can be fired at will. Each wolf hair can become the body of the level 8 werewolf. Rudolph was lucky. When the level 8 werewolf changed its defense, the level 8 werewolf took back the wolf hair around him, allowing Rudolph to find this only opportunity. The feeling of sneak attack is really good. No matter how powerful you are, you can be knocked down by a knife from behind, which makes people unable to defend. The wolf hair of the white wolf floated farther and farther, until it was within a range of thousands of meters. White wolf hair floated everywhere, and Rudolph was like being in the snow. Rudolph looked back at the direction of the Constitution Army's position. Commander-in-Chief Stein was very strong among the alchemists. Such a large range of wolf hair did not exceed the explosion range of Stein's giant air blast bomb. The research results of the alchemists are becoming more and more powerful, and the weapons they have manufactured have formed a dimensionality reduction attack on other apostles. After the diameter spread to 1 kilometer, the white wolf's wolf hair no longer floated outward, reaching the limit of the wolf hair leaving the body. The next moment, all the wolf hairs emitted violent lightning, and the white-purple lightning suddenly turned the surrounding area into a thunder and lightning hell. Within dozens of kilometers nearby, all the level 8 werewolves looked in horror in a certain direction. They were amazed in their hearts. How could a werewolf be promoted to a level 8 werewolf here? Did the Constitutional Army seriously injure the original level 8 werewolf, and a level 7 werewolf took advantage of the opportunity to enter? If so, it's not bad. One level 8 werewolf died and another level 8 werewolf was added. All the level 7 werewolves felt the breath of the new Wolf King, that is, a brand new level 8 werewolf. I'm really envious. How could there be such a lucky level 7 werewolf? When the Wolf King was weak and seriously injured, he was successfully promoted to a level 8 werewolf. These level 7 werewolves looked at their Wolf Kings one after another, wondering when their Wolf Kings would be seriously injured and let themselves pick up a loophole. The starlight lizard disappeared, and Rudolph entered an absolute hidden state, otherwise he would be attacked by Ivan's wolf hair. Thunderclouds made of wolf hair appeared around the white wolf, and all creatures in this area were electrocuted into charcoal by the thunderclouds. On the flagship airship of the Constitutional Army, Commander-in-Chief Stein was looking in the direction of the white wolf. Even from a distance, he could see the thunderclouds that contained such huge energy. Commander, are we really just watching a level 8 werewolf being born there? Minister of the Judgment Department Duan turned his head and glanced at the nosy Deputy Chief of Staff. With such quality, he was still the Deputy Chief of Staff. That was the woman of the furnace. The furnace sent his woman to become a level 8 werewolf. Who could stop it? They didn't even know when the furnace would take action. It was the scouts on the airship who notified the headquarters after seeing the huge thunderclouds, and the headquarters knew that a werewolf was being promoted. Commander-in-Chief Stein said. Furnace proved in front of us that he can assassinate a level 8 werewolf with his own strength. There are only traces of White Wolf's promotion, and no traces of the level 8 werewolf struggling and resisting, which proves that the level 8 werewolf has no resistance in front of Furnace, and Furnace has completed a one-shot kill. For such a wizard to stand on our side is simply God's blessing to us. Level 8 werewolf is not a problem. Minister Duan made a judgment that as long as the level 8 werewolf stays away from the wilderness and stays in the Eagle's Beak Peninsula, the level 8 werewolf will not cause damage. White Wolf is the least destructive in the Furnace Pirates. She has a 0 criminal record and the danger is controllable. We certainly will not stop the woman of Furnace from being promoted to White Wolf. The Furnace helped us a lot this time. Without it, we would not have been able to kill the level 8 werewolf that had mixed in with hundreds of thousands of werewolves. Minister Duan, increase communication with the Furnace and make full use of its capabilities. Understood, Commander-in-Chief, I will communicate with the Furnace. The Furnace is not as uncommunicative as rumored. On the contrary, it is easy to talk to. After the thundercloud raged for a few minutes, it began to shrink and slowly gathered into the body of the white wolf. The wolf hair that created lightning finally returned to the white wolf. The white wolf's hair became more and more dense, swaying like in the water, very beautiful. And the werewolf power of the level 8 werewolf disappeared and he died completely. Just like Ivan's promotion before, the dead werewolf lost the power of the apostle and left no relics. Rudolph already had an 8th level werewolf relic and did not need this one. Yvonne, how do you feel? Yvonne, who had transformed into a human, wiped the fine sweat from her head. It feels very good, but... She looked into the depths of the wilderness. Thousands of kilometers away, there was the werewolf ancestral mountain. After the promotion, I think the werewolf ancestral mountain is even more terrifying. Rudolph smiled and put his arm around Yvonne's shoulders. It's okay, I will get you some ancestral mountain aconitum, so that you will not be affected by the werewolf ancestral mountain and Corvinus. Or to be more direct, when I kill Corvinus, I will let you be the incarnation of the contemporary ancestor. Weird Star Witch. Author, White Silver Black Iron. Chapter 679. The thunderclouds in the distance disappeared, leaving many werewolf corpses behind after the thunderclouds disappeared. The range of the thundercloud was very wide, with a diameter of 1 kilometer. Those werewolves covered by the thundercloud were electrocuted to death, leaving only charred corpses. Of course, the most eye-catching thing is the corpse of the level 8 werewolf in the middle of the thundercloud. The Constitutional Army has lost a major enemy. Without wasting a single shot or sacrificing the lives of the Constitutional Army soldiers, the level 8 werewolf died there. Into the hands of the furnace. Duan, the head of the Judicial Department, saw the Deputy Chief of Staff's lips moving as if he wanted to say something, so he coughed quickly to signal him not to mess around. Sure enough, after more than 10 seconds of silence, the figure of the furnace suddenly appeared next to Commander-in-Chief Stein. Even though the forge is now on the side of West Elba and fighting against the werewolves together, this ability to appear silently, ignore all detection and defense methods of the airship flagship, and suddenly make everyone on the airship panic. Especially the Deputy Chief of Staff, he felt that he was reckless. He was tortured by a wizard when he was young, so he was very disgusted and ignored. Don't let the furnace hear what you said just now. You must be careful when you are alone in the future, and don't let disaster come from your mouth. The furnace said, Commander-in-Chief, my woman has completed her promotion. I don't want her to be affected by other werewolves or the werewolf ancestors. I will take her back to the Eagle Beak Peninsula as soon as possible. Stein said, thank you very much, Mr. Furnace, you helped me a lot by killing the level 8 werewolf. Help is out of the question. I heard bad news. 5 level 8 werewolves have arrived here from Zushan. They will enter the front line tomorrow morning. Rudolph was able to kill the level 8 werewolf because the werewolves reorganized the front line deployment. The scope of the werewolf tribe's activities was the special territory of the Wolf King on the front line. Stein's pupils shrank, but he adjusted in an instant. It doesn't matter, no matter how many werewolves come over, they will not be able to break through the Constitutional Army's defense line. Rudolph said, the defense line here is impregnable, and I am more worried about the Eagle's Crane Peninsula. The Eagle's Crane Peninsula is across the sea from the southern continent, and the evil god cult is a big hidden danger. You need to worry about the evil cult. Stein knew that the furnace's concerns were justified, and he said, the newly recruited soldiers from the Eagle's Crane province and the 2 provinces to the north of the Eagle's Crane Peninsula will be trained in the Eagle's Crane Peninsula. The recruits from those 3 provinces will train while guarding the Eagle's Crane Peninsula. Etc. They will come to the front line after training. This is the only support I can squeeze out now. Rudolph knew the difficulties of the Constitutional Army and said, Commander-in-Chief Stein, I lack the ability to kill large areas. I hope to take away 2 of your giant airburst bombs. These 2 level 8 artillery shells can be kept by the local garrison Constitutional Army. I will not touch them at ordinary times. If the evil god cult really takes advantage of the situation, I can use these 2 level 8 shells to attack the evil god cult headquarters. This request is not out of selfishness. Whoever I want to deal with now does not need this level 8 weapon of mass destruction. If you want to paralyze the evil god's navy and prevent them from landing, level 8 giant air burst bombs are the best method, and they are more efficient than my ability. Please think about it, I will take my woman away from the front line first, and then stay in Luberon City for a day. We will leave the day after tomorrow morning and return to the Eagle's Beak Peninsula. I hope you will reply to me as soon as possible. Okay, I will ask the staff to calculate as soon as possible to see if 2 level 8 air burst bombs can be squeezed out. The figure of the furnace disappeared again. No one knew how he appeared, and no one knew how he disappeared. Many officers looked at the level 7 Yanling staff officer of the Constitutional Army. He spread his hands and expressed that he was powerless. Let's go, let's study the output of the mine and the progress of the arsenal now, and see if we can squeeze out 2 giant level 8 air burst bombs. The deputy commander and the chief of general staff looked at each other, and had to follow the commander-in-chief Stein's instructions. Finally, the chief of general staff spoke. Commander-in-chief, every level 8 giant air burst bomb is very, very precious. The furnace just said that there will be 3 more level 8 werewolves on the front tomorrow. At this time, the level 8 giant air burst bombs will be. Isn't it too wasteful to transfer air burst bombs to the Yingzhui Peninsula? Minister Duane, please explain. Hearing the commander-in-chief mention his name, Duane replied. Don't underestimate Furnace's judgment. He has had a lot of dealings with the evil god cult, and he knows best what the evil god cult wants to do. Furnace believes that the evil god cult may go north at any time, so it must be really possible. All the spies and witch hunters in the southern continent have lost contact with each other. The evil god cult is cleaning up the spies, and those spies and witch hunters must have died. This act of cleaning up spies is obviously part of preparations for war. Therefore, I support meeting the requirements of the furnace. Send 2 level 8 giant air burst bombs to the Eagle's Beak Peninsula. The 2 shells can be placed at the Constitutional Army's station. Don't hand them over to the furnace. Wait until the evil god cult really comes before letting the furnace use them. The Chief of General Staff said, not to mention the Constitutional Army stationed on the Eagle Beak Peninsula. Even here, I can't guarantee that our weapons arsenal can prevent the theft of the furnace. Duane shook his head. Chief of General Staff, please change your thinking. We cannot look at the furnace with colored glasses now. The furnace is indeed a wizard, and he does have bad deeds. But our current goal is to fight against enemies from all directions. The furnace is a powerful force that can be fought for. After thinking for a while, he added. No, the appearance of the furnace is our luck. His enemy happens to be our enemy. We must make good use of the ghost-like ability of the furnace. The furnace once killed 2 senators on the street in Legara, but Prime Minister House repeatedly emphasized that the Judicial Department must communicate with the furnace. I think this is what Prime Minister House meant. Speaking of the furnace, West Elba has a love-hate relationship right now. The death of the senator made the big shots panic, but the furnace's hatred of werewolves and the evil cult made the big shots reluctant to push away such a useful chess piece. The members of the House of Lords wanted to kill him now when he mentioned the furnace, but the real top officials, Prime Minister House and Commander-in-Chief Stein, were sober and had been maintaining their cooperation with the furnace. The melting pot did not disappoint Prime Minister House and Commander-in-Chief Stein. So far, the melting pot has helped the Constitutional Army a lot. In the end, Stein made the final decision. Don't have any more arguments on this matter. Let's discuss and unify our thoughts within the General Staff. Don't have any rejection mentality regarding the melting pot. I know you are risk-averse and want to control all risks, but the melting pot must be fought for. Tonight we will discuss whether we can deal with the 3 new level 8 werewolves after sending away 2 giant level 8 air burst bombs. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Weird Star Witch. Author, White Silver Black Iron. Chapter 680. Rudolph gave the Constitutional Army enough time to think, otherwise he would have left here with Yvonne. There were werewolves everywhere near the front line. What if these werewolves brought something from the ancestral mountain that could affect Ivan? Strange things are bad. Unfortunately, no one came to see him until he and Ivan entered the station. On the platform, the staff suddenly shouted with a loudspeaker, "Due to equipment failure, this train will leave in 1 hour late." As a walking collection of disasters, Rudolph felt that the train was delayed because of himself. Sure enough, a few minutes later, Duin, the head of the trial department, found Rudolph panting. "Mr. Furness, please wait a moment, we have prepared a special car for you." The bus on which Rudolph originally bought the ticket was delayed, and the route was occupied by a special bus. 1 locomotive, 2 coal-fired carriages, and 2 passenger carriages. This is the complete picture of the special train. There are 5 carriages in total, which makes this train much smaller. After entering the first carriage, Rudolph saw the luxurious configuration inside, including a conference room, study room, sofa, large bathroom, bedroom, entertainment room, etc. You alchemists must know how to enjoy it. The nobles are not as good as you. They don't know the technology, so they say that only you alchemists can make this large bathtub with a heat preservation device. Mr. Furness, this is Commander-in-Chief Stein's special train. The special train will take you back to the Eagle Beak Peninsula. Please come this way. There are more important things behind. Crossing the junction, Rudolph saw the high-ranking officers acting as guards behind them. Judging from the epaulets, these officers were colonels and lieutenant colonels. Mr. Furness, this is Colonel Aditya from the Equipment Department of the Constitutional Army. He will accompany you to the Eagle Beak Peninsula and be responsible for the security of important ammunition. Aditya saluted Rudolph. "Hello, Mr. Furness." "Hi, hello, is this the big baby I want?" Half of the carriage contained a large safe, which was almost as high as the carriage. There was a glass viewing window above, and 2 giant airburst bombs were placed inside. "Yes, Mr. Furness, the Constitutional Army has agreed to your request and will place 2 level 8 giant airburst bombs on the Eagle Beak Peninsula. If you think there is a need to use them, please contact Colonel Aditya." "Okay, I get it." Rudolph doesn't need level 8 alchemy bullets now. His forbidden technique has enough single-point damage, but he needs level 8 airburst bombs. This kind of weapon has a huge range of damage. The train slowly left the station and headed towards the Eagle Beak Peninsula. Duin would be grateful for their decision today, because at this moment, the port of Navier of the Oblivion Church in the southern continent, the flagships of other churches were slowly entering the port of Navier, and hundreds of ships were on the shallow sea outside the port. Just broke down. Level 7 Oblivion Priest Canute, an old acquaintance of Rudolph, was standing respectfully among the priests, waiting for the 7 cardinal priests to finish their prayers. The 7 cardinal priests stood in the altar built at the port and prayed facing the direction of the northern continent, praying that they could successfully fulfill the Lord's expectations and realize the return of the gods' religion to the north. Annihilation, white demon, entrapment, pain, hive, abstinence, deception. It is not easy to see so many level 8 cardinal priests at one time. Not only did the Church of Pain at the southernmost tip of the southern continent send out an 8th level cardinal priest, but even the cardinal priest of the fraudulent church who never showed up appeared. No one knows what the cardinal priest of the Church of Fraud looks like. Even if you stare at him for 3 seconds, as soon as you close your eyes, you will immediately forget his appearance and figure. After finishing their prayers, the 7 level 8 cardinal priests whispered a few words and left the altar to go to their respective flagships. The level 8 cardinal deceiver priest is special. He has no ship and his figure disappears directly. After the cardinal priests of other churches left, Morales, the cardinal priest of the Church of Oblivion, signaled Canute to come over. "How is the relocation of the temple in Port Navier going?" Canute bowed deeply. "Dear cardinal priest, the canal has been dug. After praying to the Lord of Nothingness tomorrow morning, the sacred pillars of the temple can be transported away. Okay. The temple of the Church of Nothingness is the simplest to build, consisting of 12 divine pillars. Once we land, we will take the lead in erecting the divine pillars and build the temple of nothingness in the shortest time. When the time comes, we will first ask the Lord of Nothingness to watch the Eagle Beak Peninsula. Then we will help other churches build their own temples. This matter must be ensured, and may the Lord of Nothingness bless us. May the Lord of Nothingness bless us. Please rest assured, Cardinal Priest, I will ensure that the relocation of the temple is foolproof. Okay, go ahead and don't let the Lord of Nothingness down again. Newt's vision went dark, and he remembered the days when he was punished by the Lord of Nothingness when he was confessing in the temple. During that month, he lost all his powers and was like a disabled person. It was His Majesty the Pope who personally applied to the Lord of Nothingness to allow him to save his life. The abominable furnace actually destroyed the smuggling and spread of believers, which ruined his future. You don't have to worry about contacting the believers in the Eagle Beak Peninsula. I will let the other 7th level priests take charge. You can concentrate on the relocation of the temple. Your orders are obeyed, my dear Cardinal. Canute walked backwards away from the Cardinal. After walking far away, he hurriedly walked towards the canal. He wanted to make sure that there were no flaws in the canal. The dam furnace, he was responsible for transporting the believers, but now he has become a synonym for low ability. When the temple was built in Belfort, the believers had to be sacrificed, and the priest who presided over the sacrifice would gain a large amount of faith power. This was originally his lucrative job, but now he had to give it to others. As for the relocation of the temple, it was a hard job. Once there was a mistake, if the temple's pillars encountered an accident, he would be executed for blasphemy. It was a thankless job. He wished he could swim in the canal first to make sure there were no reefs or other obstacles at the bottom of the canal or even the bottom of the Suluo River. In the distant Temple of Nothingness, a black, slowly rotating black hole vortex floated on the 12 pillars. The Lord of Nothingness was in that black hole, which was an entrance to the endless abyss. The subordinates saw the great priest Canute coming over with a gloomy face, and they were all in pain. High Priest, we can't touch the rocks even if we fight them again. The water is very, very clean. We didn't dare to sleep last night. We stayed by the canal to make sure no one threw things into the canal. This canal was dug temporarily to transport the pillars of nothingness. The construction period was very tight, and Canute was very afraid of problems. If a pillar gets stuck in the canal tomorrow, you and I will be thrown into the endless abyss. Newt's eyes were red. Let someone dive to the bottom of the canal and clean up the silt on the bottom of the river. Finally, let someone wear white socks and step on the bottom of the river. Whoever's socks come up dirty, I will drown him in the Suluo River. The subordinates trembled and hurried to implement the order of High Priest Canute. Canute looked in the direction of the northern continent. If the gaze of the Lord of Nothingness could kill the furnace, he would whip the corpse with his own hands to wash away the punishment and humiliation he had suffered in recent days. Weird Star Witch. Author, White Silver Black Iron. Chapter 681. The train loaded with the 8th level giant air blast bomb slowly went south, and the ship loaded with 12 pillars of the Church of Oblivion quickly went north. Due to the damage done by the werewolves to the west bank of the Garonne River, the steam train had to take a long detour, first crossing the Garonne River eastward in the Luberon region, and then going southward, making a big 7-shaped circle to the Eagle's Beak Peninsula. South of the Luberon region, west of the Garonne River, half of the Garonne region, a full 3 provinces have fallen into the hands of the werewolves. The 8th level giant air blast bomb is very delicate and requires daily care and maintenance, so Rudolph can't go fast even if he wants to. Rudolph and Yvonne are in a very relaxed mood. Yvonne has been promoted to a level 8 werewolf, and her strength has increased a lot unless the 9th level werewolf ancestor Corvinus comes to the Eagle's Beak Peninsula in person. Ivan doesn't have to worry about the call of the Wolf King. Ivan is the strongest Wolf King below Corvinus. If Corvinus leaves Zushan, it will be the most important event on the continent, just like the Pope of the southern continent left the Holy City, just like Emperor Meguen led his royal knights of the midnight to the south. Rudolf knew it in advance. In the long railway, there is a section that runs from north to south along the east bank of the Garonne River. Ivan leaned against the window and looked at the Garonne River outside the window. The river is very wide, and the narrowest part is 500 meters. Several floating corpses that floated from nowhere were floating downstream along the river. They looked like a family. The floating corpses were floating up and down in the water. Judging from the degree of swelling, they should have died last night. Ivan frowned because she saw two werewolves trotting on the opposite bank. These were two low-level werewolves. They stared at the floating corpses in the river while running, and at the same time looked at the opposite bank, guarding against the militia patrolling the river. There was a river patrol militia on the other side of the river, and ships were sailing on the river from time to time, so the werewolves did not dare to enter the river rashly or cross the Garonne River to attack the east bank of the river. Maybe the two werewolves were starving, and they were very interested in the floating corpses in the river. One werewolf suddenly jumped into the water and swam towards the floating corpses, while the other was standing on the shore, looking around vigilantly. The speed of the steam train was not fast, and the windows could be opened for ventilation. Ivan pushed the window up, and the cold wind from the window poured in. A breath of the Wolf King suddenly burst out from the window, and the werewolf on the other side of the river trembled instantly and lay on the ground. The werewolf who jumped into the river went against the current directly, flopping in the water, and soon floated on the river surface, becoming one of the floating corpses, and drifted downstream together. A crisp sound of weapons opening the safety was heard in the rear carriage, and Colonel Adia knocked on the carriage door nervously. The waiter in the VIP carriage opened the door after getting Rudolph's permission. Other apostles also felt the terrifying momentum leaked by Ivan. This is the natural suppression of the 8th level apostles on other apostles, and the instinctive fear of low-level apostles when facing terrifying beasts. After entering the carriage, Adia saw the quiet wolf girl sitting by the window, and also saw the furnace looking at the wolf girl with satisfaction. Unknowingly, the wolf girl hiding in the cellar has become a level 8 werewolf. She has experienced a lot of running around and hardships along the way. The wolf girl frowned slightly, not knowing why she was unhappy. Rudolph turned around and explained, "Nothing, Colonel Adia, this is not a werewolf out of control, but Ivan can't stand the werewolves on the other side wanting to eat corpses, so she used a little bit of means to stop this." After that, Adia saw a revolver appear in the furnace's hand and fired a shot at the window. He fired a shot out of the window casually, without aiming at anything. Adia turned his head to look at the windows behind him, and the werewolf on the shore was shot dead. Before departure, Minister Duan showed him a lot of information about the furnace. Adia was still shocked to see such a casual and physical violation method. A level 1 werewolf died from a level 7 poisoned bullet. His death was worth it. The revolver disappeared in Rudolph's hand. Rudolph said, "It's okay, Colonel Adia, don't be nervous. Sorry to bother you, I'll go back to my carriage first. Well, goodbye." After Adia left, Ivan suddenly said, "Rudolph, why don't we go to the west bank of the Garonne River and deal with the werewolves on the west bank? Maybe there are still ordinary people surviving on the west bank of the Garonne River." "Okay, I'm idle anyway. The train can't speed up. It's still in time to catch up with the train in a few days." When Rudolph told Adia about this decision, cold sweat appeared on Adia's head instantly, and large beads of sweat rolled down. "Mr. Furnace, if you leave, what if someone comes to steal the level 8 air blast bombs?" Rudolph was stunned. "Ah. Aren't you on guard against me stealing your level 8 air blast bombs? If I leave, who will steal your air blast bombs?" "Mr. Furnace, you are joking. How can we prevent you from stealing the level 8 air blast bombs? These 2 shells are for you. It's a matter of time. Don't worry, I did a divination last night. The air blast bombs are very safe. No one will think of stealing them. As long as I don't steal them, no one will dare to steal them, Rudolph said. How about this, you ask someone to spray the words "for furnace only" on the air blast bombs, so that even if someone comes to steal them, they will find that they are stealing my level 8 air blast bombs. Those who dare to steal level 8 alchemical weapons are not fools. They should know my recent record and will not provoke me. Adia could only watch the furnace and the wolf girl disappear, and couldn't see how the furnace left. The subordinate officer waited for a minute and asked, after making sure that the furnace had left, "Colonel, what should we do?" "What should we do?" Of course, according to the furnace, spray the words "for furnace only" on the safe. This is the most effective way. After more than 10 minutes, Adia looked at the safe with satisfaction. A few lines of words were sprayed on the safe. The weird wizard who can be resurrected infinitely, the Southern Cross assassin who can kill with one blow, the transparent walker who wanders in the blind spot of vision, the most active Scorpio wizard in the North Continent and Sarago Sea, and the special weapon for the furnace. When the officers saw this line of words, they really felt relieved. I didn't expect that the Constitutional Army would use the name of the furnace to scare potential enemies one day. Adia emphasized, "Protect these words well, don't let them fade, this is our amulet." "Colonel, is this really not a plot by the furnace to steal the level 8 air blast bombs?" "Of course not. If the furnace wanted to steal these 2 air blast bombs, he wouldn't have to use any conspiracy against us," Colonel Adia said very confidently. "We are not worthy."